Hi there, it's Joshua. I'm going to run you through downloading WordPress and installing WordPress on your web server. You're going to need a couple of tools, but first off, I want to get you the actual WordPress.org package to download. So by going to up here in the URL, type in WordPress.org, and you'll see a download button up here on the top, and you'll see a blue download button in the content here. So either one to get you to the same page, and then you got to click one more button to download. So that's 2 steps. And as you can see on the bottom here, I'm starting to download, and we wind up with the package. Then all you need to do is open up that zip file, which is what you're downloading from WordPress, and you're going to find this folder called WordPress. You just select that folder. If you're using WinZip or some other zip utility, it might look different than this, but it's essentially the same thing. Okay, so you just take that, and then I do an extract to desktop because it's much easier for for what I do. Whatever works for you is fine wherever you want to store it. And it doesn't take very long, but once it's extracted all the files, that is the entire infrastructure or architecture that is used on WordPress.com, which, as you probably know, is where you can go get your own free blog or site on their servers. Likewise, you can download the entire platform here, which we've just done for free. All right, so I'm going to hop out of here. And now that we've got that, I'm going to show you some of the other tools here. This is called FileZilla. And all it allows me to do is connect to web servers and do file transfers. Okay, this is called FTP, or File Transfer Protocol. By simply setting up my FTP account, I can now access my local files on this left column and the server files on the right column. So as you can see, there's a similar architecture, right? And basically all we'll be doing is moving the files onto the server. Okay, now there is one more step. You will need a database, and that's going to depend really on your web host. Let me show you 2Post domains real quick and how you would go about setting up a database through this interface. All right, once we've logged in, we just click on hosting. It takes us to our hosting. We launch our panel. And once we're in our panel, we simply go up to Databases and MySQL. From there, we're going to go to the top right and create a database. And we're going to give it a username, and that's also the database name, which is slightly different in other dashboards or control panels for hosts. But this is the way I recommend doing it through 2Post domains. So let's call it... better yet, 2Post demo DB. Okay, and then we give it a strong password. This one thing you want to make sure is relatively strong. Okay, so you get this information in. That's all you need to do. Set up the database and username, which is the same thing, which 2Post demo DB here, and then your password, and confirm it. Okay, everything else would be just fine. Leave it the way it is. Hit OK. And then in just a few moments, you're going to get an actual setup. Now, I already have one set up. It only takes a few minutes, but I don't want to bore you here. So there's some key information that you'll need here. You'll need a host name. You'll need the database name. And you'll also need which is the same as the username. So you have both of those, and the password. So those 4 pieces of information, which are technically 3, that's what you're going to use to install WordPress. So that's it. Once that database is set up, you don't have to go in and manage anything. WordPress is going to handle all of that for you. So at this point, we can go back to the files situation here, and I'm going to go back to my desktop so you can see I'm doing it as you would with the actual download. Okay, and there is WordPress. Okay, so all of these files that we downloaded in WordPress here, I mean, it's a tremendous amount of files, and there's 3 folders. So you just want to take all of those, which you can do like a Control A, or just kind of drag and select them all. Just make sure you get them all, and then you go to your remote site. That's your server, your web server, and somewhere in the root directory, you right click and create directory. Okay, and so that slash indicates that's at the root. So that would be your domain. It would be 2posts websites.com slash, and that slash is what that is right there. So this is a root directory we're creating, and I'm just going to call it WordPress demo. Okay, so now we have this. As you can see, of those other files, right? They've already been copied to my root, and that's what I've done. So in WordPress demo, we have a blank here. We're going to just take all these files and drag them over. Now the process, as you can see down on the bottom left here, is 700, 800, almost 800 files. So it's going to take just a couple of minutes. It doesn't take an extremely long time. That's doing fine. As soon as that completes, that's when I'm going to hit enter. So up until this point, I've just prepared to access it while it's busy transferring all the files over. Okay. The whole process here from start to finish shouldn't take you more than 15 or 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes if you're completely unfamiliar and you have to come back and look at this. But once you've gone through this, then there's going to be another series of adjustments you're going to want to make to the normal installation. And I'll go through that in another video. This is just the way for you to get the package, to put it on your server, to create a database, and actually install it in about 15 minutes or so. Just a few more moments, and we are complete here. Okay, so at this point, that's all you needed FileZilla for. Okay, if you've gone and downloaded FileZilla and put in that one FTP account, now you can see just how easy it is to get files up on your server. Like if you ever want to share pictures with people, or if you ever want to back up your information, you can do that on your own web server. Okay, so you can just get rid of FileZilla for now. All right, for the benefit of getting things done, we're just going to go ahead and use the 2post site sample, and we're going to go ahead and press enter on the installation on the web that we've just uploaded. Okay, and what you get is an error, and that's okay. You're supposed to get that because there is no WP config file, which stands for WordPress configuration. Okay, now this file is what's going to house that information that I've already pointed out concerning your database. So just click on the button, create a configuration file. It's going to let you know what information it needs. Here's that 4 pieces of information. The table prefix, frankly, is not that important, but as it says here in these paren, if you do want to run more than one WordPress installation, now you can run a multi-site installation with just one WordPress package, but if you want to do more than one separately in the same database, separate sites, separate installations of WordPress, then you would want to have this prefix. So again, it's not important. Now don't worry about anything else but these 4 things, okay? And where you're going to find them is right here. You already know what your password is, but you take your host name and you just copy it and you just paste it. Okay? Then you take your username, copy it, and paste it. Now that's also, oh, I put the wrong thing in here. Sorry about that. Let me paste in here, and I'm going to take this out. Okay, so the database name, sorry about that, the database name and the username are exactly the same. So you can just copy that over and paste them in the both there. Put the password in. Okay, and then we're going to paste in the host itself. Over to the setup, you can paste it into the database name and the username. Then just hit your password and the host. So just hit submit. And then you can see here it says, all right, Sparky, right? Like you're ready to go. That was it. That was the tough part. You click run install. WordPress does all the hard work for you, and then it's going to present us with some options for setting up the site itself, which I'm going to cover more in depth in another video for you. Again, this was just for you to get the site set up where you can start putting content in it. You won't have to make it public per se, but you will want to eventually make it live. So you can test it without it being public. I'll show you how to do that. Okay, now you get a welcome message. As I mentioned, it's going to ask you for some more information here. So it's a 5-minute WordPress install. Once you have it on the server going through this process, and once you have the database set up, so the files are on your web server, the database is set up, it pretty much takes you about 5 more minutes to go through this process. The site title is what you're going to call your site. To post demo site. And then you want to set up a username. I don't recommend that you use admin. Once again, set up at least a medium password. And right here, this checkbox, this is the thing I told you I would show you. If you want to set it up for testing, just uncheck it. And you can change this setting later. All of these settings, in fact, except for that username, you can change at any time. So just click on Install WordPress. It'll take a few more moments to change those settings in the database. But again, your database is already set up. And as you can see, it's already done the install. So we just go to login. In this instance, we're just going to run 2 posts. And we log in. And so this is the dashboard that you're going to have. Okay. And so with this, there's going to be a number of settings that you're going to want to adjust most likely. So let me just show you those briefly, and then in the other video I'll get into some more of the in-depth changes that you're going to want to make to improve this site and make it more your own. Okay, so the screen options in the upper right here, you can just toggle that and it'll drop down the screen options. You can change the number of columns you have as well as what things show up. I recommend, other than right now, you just uncheck everything, just like this. So maybe recent drafts, you might like to keep track of what content you're working on, that kind of thing. Okay, so at this point, now you're going to want to change in your settings. General, the first thing you're probably going to want to change is the tagline of your site. You can also change how the URL works for your site. If you prefer the www as what is shown in the URL in the web browser up here at the top, you can do so. There's certain instances that would be preferable. In the membership arena here, if you want folks to be able to register on your site, just check it and then assign them a role, which typically will be a subscriber. And this doesn't mean anything other than they can just read. They can't actually post anything, okay? And then any of your date formatting and time formatting, and then just click on Save Changes so it does that. The other thing you're probably going to want to change is, let me save that for the other video because I don't want to get too deep, but let me just show you can click on the title here directly, or I recommend you right click it into a new tab or a new window. That way you can see what it looks like and all that. So this section here, just so you're aware, is your widgets. Okay, these are your widgets in the sidebar. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 widgets going on there. This is a navigation with a page which you can change. This is the header which you can change in the back, and I'm going to show you these in a moment. Here's your title and your tagline, and then here are your posts, your content, and then there's some footer content which can also be modified. Now everything in this site can be modified. Let me just stress that. Inside this tab here, you're going to see it like this most likely, this left navigation. And appearance is where you're going to have your widgets, your menus, your background, if you want to do a background image or color, and the headers, okay? So that's the background, right? The headers, the menus, and the widgets off to the right here. And that's pretty much it. We'll have you an installed WordPress site that you can start developing content. And all you would do at that point is create new pages and create new posts. You may also want to set up some categories and things, which I'll share in the video, in the next video, but this will get you started for sure. I hope you enjoyed it, and it's been edification for you in moving your business and personal endeavors and things that you're trying to get out for Christ. Stay tuned for the next video. I'm Joshua. Visit me at joshuaajones.com. Give me a ring, 678-389-6779, or shoot me an email at jjones@2postsllc.com.